You're welcome, sir. Nice to see you again.
And
Thank
see
you,
you,
Mr.
and
Hernandez.
hello to your wife and family.
Chief, our officers, is it a directive that they have that they need to write a report every time they get a call for a noise nuisance?
Sir, when a call comes in, it automatically goes into the CAD system. Whether it ends up needing a report or not, it's up to the officer when he gets on the scene if a crime is committed. If a crime is not committed, no report is made. However, if it's a violation of a code enforcement issue,
That's it.
we write a code enforcement report that we send over to code enforcement in the morning or during the day. Whenever it occurs, it gets forwarded to the code enforcement officer, which is Martin Garcia or Mr. Pena,
That's what I
who's the
meant.
chief code enforcement officer,
So that does happen every time?
every single time.
Okay.
So, Chief, I guess I should ask for 2 reports then. The reports, if a report is written, but can we get a report if a call came in from the
Yes,
CAD system?
I'll have that up.
Perfect.
You know, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. How far back do you want to go? For a month, 2 months?
No, let's go back 6 months. Can we?
Okay, 6 months.
Is that too much? I mean, you tell me, I don't know.
No, I'm going to bring it to you.
What do I need?
I mean, the problem exists.
Let's go 6
I can-
months.
I can-
Let's go
I
6
can
months.
tell you that the problem exists. I can tell you that we do get the calls. So that report, the only thing it's going to tell you is, yeah, it's happening.
I want to see how many calls.
They're not lying. I mean,
I know, I know.
it's occurring. And the guys go and respond and do what they can. And I want to mention something else, because this isn't the only area that we have a problem. So I'm not going to get into all the problems that we have in the city, but we have to handle it, and I think Commissioner Blanes will understand it the best when I say police department has to triage also.
No, that's my concern, all these calls
Right.
that are coming in, and, you know,
Not a
we
problem.
only have so many officers on the street.
Well, we
This is my
respond
concern.
immediately,
And they-
barring we don't have something more serious
Right.
going on. If we
I
got
understand.
something more serious going on, unfortunately, the block drive is going to have to wait. But in any event, waiting in this city is maybe 4 minutes, because usually the response time is less than 2 minutes. And I'll compare that to any city in this county.
No, the residents have spoken very highly, and you know how we feel about your department, so that goes without saying. You guys are doing a fantastic job, but we just have to see what we can work together and,
I have a question for Mr. Pena.
yes, as well as I. I have a question for you, Mr. Pena.
Mr. Pena, all these reports, noise nuisance reports that are being passed on from the police department to the code enforcement department, what are we doing? Because it sounds to me at this point that we need to put some heat on that management. And, you know, the only way that this management is going to do something is if their pocketbook gets hit.
We have met with the management, and we have...
No, I'm talking about citing them and finding them.
Well, you have to let me finish.
Okay,
We have met with the management, and we have cited the property.
okay.
So, once they correct it, then the issue is closed, but
So right now, they're under violation, and,
I would have to check with Martin, but I'm sure they're under violation for something.
okay.
This was, when Mr. Smart sent his email, Martin made contact with the management company again.
You know, because it sounds to me, you know, if they get, you know, if they get 10 noise nuisance reports in one day, that's 10 different violations, right?
Correct.
Okay, and each violation is what? It's,
Depends on the violation.
okay, so you know what? They need to get written up time and time and time again until they realize that they're going to have to do something about it. And then, you know, they'll change their regulations. You know, we need to find a way, or, I mean, I don't know if legally we can't really do it, but, I mean, there's got to be a way where, you know, they'll find themselves having to do something, you know, changing their business model. For instance, you know, now they charge $50, you know, for an extra car. Well, you know what? Maybe they're having so much problems and they're paying so many fines that, you know what? They'll say, you know what? Let's make things better. You know what? You can park your car for free, your second car, and that will alleviate, you know, some of the issue that we have. But, you know, we got to put the heat on them. I mean, the way that I see it, it's, you know, I know that it's a system and it kind of works slow, but, you know, we need to
Elliot.
apply that system to them, that process.
We will.
Mr. Ben, I think, and I have a pretty much, not a similar question, but I was going to ask you about when someone stated that there's a $50 fee for extra cars. I know we can't tell a business how to run their business. That's them running their business. But is there anything in the special use permit that speaks to that? Do we have any leverage as far as a special use permit is to kind of have something to say about that?
We have to go back and talk to management and see what is the capacity, and are they at capacity, is what we need to do.
Right, so, I mean, that's the angle I want you to look at as far as their special use permit. Like I said, we can't tell them what to do about the $50, that's their business, but how did that fit into
Correct.
the special use? So if you could get back to us on that. And another thing, the street sweeping. These residents have every right to deserve to have their street swept, like we all do. I don't have a solution, but what are your thoughts on that? I mean, if there's always a car parked there, these poor people, you know, they're not getting the service that
Right.
that that they deserve, that we provide to the rest of the city.
Well, the only thing I could suggest is first doing a survey during the day to see what cars are parked there all day. Because I'm pretty sure it's not all from Celeste Alameda's building. There are businesses on 8th Street that they don't have enough parking, and they come in, they park on 9th Street, especially employees and stuff like that. So we would have to run each car to see where they're coming from and where they actually belong to.
Can we do that? Would you,
Yeah,
okay, would you look into that for us then?
correct.
That's a good start.
Because we may be contributing to that too.
That's a good start. Thank you for,
Madam Mayor?
yes.
It sounds like, you know, we need to focus, and we need to arrange orderly, you know, this prong attack to this issue. So, you know, we mentioned about, you know, the research with the attorney, mentioned the reports and the code enforcement. Now you mentioned something else. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, you know, you can lead some kind of focus group with maybe some of the residents and attack this issue, you know, with a different prong attack, you know, addressing, you know, each and every one of them. That way, you know, we have a plan of attack, we have a plan of action, you know, because we can talk here, you know, all night, and then, you know, delude what we're saying. It can be it can be forgotten, but maybe, you know, I don't know if we should form a committee, but have like a list of all the things that we are, you know, acting upon and following up on, and hopefully maybe legislating or enacting a new ordinance or whatever. But be organized, you know, start the plan of action, and in other words, you know, we plan, we organize, you know, we staff, we direct.
I like that, and
we control.
And absolutely, I will head that.
Okay, great.
That let's call it a plan of action.
Yeah.
I will see
Plan
to
of
it that
action.
we have a plan of action in place and that we follow it, and obviously continue to work on everything we need to work on. And Chief, you said that our NRO has gone to speak to the management company?
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Yes.
but Penna, did you say, when you said we've gone to speak, did you mean our NRO, or have
No.
we gone as far as public services as well? Have we gone?
Martin has-
So Martin has gone, which is, Martin Garcia is our public services, our code compliance officer. And our neighborhood resource officer has also gone. So we've had two people, and they've talked about pretty much the same things, right?
My NRO was actually a witness to them putting out the blast that they put out, advising them not to be littering, not to be, when they're walking the dogs, pick up the poop,
And when was that, Chief?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, all right. So,
Madam Mayor, if I may
Yes,
offer,
yes,
we
I
had
know
a
you wanted to
very,
speak.
I think what I would call a very meaningful conversation with the Waterton Group on the 67th Avenue project. As you know, I became involved in that
This
conversation.
is a different management company.
I know that, but I'm saying we had and we have seen results on 67th Avenue. But I know that, not because I was involved, I think they saw on the part of the city an expressed interest in that they had to control the situation because it was adversely affecting the abutting neighbors who live in residential homes. So I think the situation as well, has improved over there because I believe that they were involved with some evictions, and now things are starting to move along. Not that that is going to be the case here. I think that the main focus here is parking, the poop, the discourtesy and the littering around the property, and obviously there are nuisance calls, there are noise calls, and we need to bring this to the attention of management, and I think we need to make that call sort of like immediately. As soon as the chief has the numbers, I wouldn't wait till the next commission meeting. I think that we should make that call
Oh, I agree.
and start to work on a plan of attack before your next meeting so that the neighbors know where they stand and what the expectations are.
No, yes, I'm hoping for an immediate plan of action. When I said about the report, to give it to us the next meeting, but the chief can always, send it through you, you can send it to us. We can have that before the next meeting.
Yes,
But yeah, I
ma'am.
want to definitely get a plan of action in, like, immediately. Yes. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. So let me just get a lot of thoughts out that I was writing down here, addressing something the manager said and something that some of the residents brought up. Number one, the situation is unfortunate, but you're actually not alone. There's the other corridors are suffering a lot of the same problems, especially with, I'm saying the corridors, I'm saying the people behind the buildings on 67th Avenue, the people around the buildings on 57th Avenue have a lot of the same problems. Your problem is worse, and I drive by it every day, and one of the biggest reasons why it's worse is because it can't be mitigated. There's the same parking problems in 57th and 67th, I promise you. The difference is on 57th Avenue, management used to tell people, go park in Inter-American Bank, go park in Wells Fargo. I know they told me. So what happened there is Inter-American started towing, Wells Fargo gave up. That's why you see the Wells Fargo lot every day is packed. They're not throwing parties in there. It's just the excess parking. On 67th Avenue, they have a lot of the same problems that you guys have parking in the neighborhood. The difference is the neighborhood is a lot bigger. You guys have one street that's in the back there. So that's the only place they're going to park. Frankly, it's a density issue. Everybody knows here. It's no secret that I was against the buildings. It was because of the personal experience that I had with the developers and with the previous building. One thing that I want to make sure of is that they're utilizing all their parking spaces. And what I mean by that, not only for their units, but for the visitor parking that they committed to in their special use application. I want to make sure if we as a city can inspect that that's actually being used, because I don't know if it's the actual people parking there who live there, or if a lot of it is visitors. These people, there's a lot of units in there. They have visitors naturally, and because of that, they allocated a certain amount of the parking for visitor parking. But I don't know how a visitor would get into the lot, considering you need a key to get into the garage. So I don't know if that's being actually utilized as it was expected in the special use permit. The other thing I wanted to bring up was security. I know that the manager, you said that you had discussion with Waterton. On 67th Avenue, it's no secret, it's been publicly discussed here, we had a big problem with police calls, and a lot of calls to police. The neighbors had problems too. I talked to them all the time of activity around the buildings. It became a big problem. I wouldn't say that the building has done much to take down the crime. I know our police has done a lot to take down the crime. What really took down the activity there was the fact that we have police responding all the time, the level of detail that the chief put together. The chief knows that I have a philosophical disagreement with him on the the use of our police inside the buildings. And, you know, I still maintain that we need to put a lot more pressure on those buildings as well as the 8th Street building, which I'm saying if it's, the way I view it, it's going to get worse before, unless something happens. It's going to get worse if something else happens, because it's not a full occupancy, as you guys know. We need to get way ahead of this problem before it turns into something that was happening at 67th or worse. We need to put a lot of pressure on this building, especially as they are still owned by the people we dealt with. Well, not we, I was on the commission at the time, but the city dealt with when these buildings went up. Because these buildings need security. I mean, they need to have somebody controlling their property, and for the protection of their own residents, but also for the protection of the surrounding community. So it can't be that our police has to be sitting around waiting for, you know, something to happen there. They need to have security. They need to take responsibility for their building and the residents of their building. The poop problem, again, seen everywhere around the city. You know, really prevalent around the buildings. Most of them have dogs. Most people in the buildings have dogs, and they do show a lack of respect for the community when they take their dogs to the bathroom. On 67th, most people do not let your dog poop here signs, and you'll see right next to the sign there'll be a bag. They'll even bag it and they'll leave it there. I've seen it. That's something that is a citywide problem. That's something that I do think has a solution. We need to find that solution very quickly. I know I've been talking to the manager for a while about this. I don't know if it's putting more of those dog poop things. I don't know if it's getting a stronger ordinance. I don't know if it's having somebody go around. I know you guys, I was told this, and I know you guys were probably told this if you had any interaction with developers prior to that building going up, that they were going to have DNA testing on the poop of the dogs, right? I don't know. Did anyone hear that? I know Mr. Smart heard it. I heard it when I'm sorry? It was said. I don't know if it was said in the meeting or not. I know it was said to residents and to people moving into the building, but I don't know if it was said in the meeting. Unfortunately, I can't find it on the special use permit, because I did review it this morning. I can't find that as a requirement, so that's very unfortunate that we didn't condition it. But I think there is a solution with that problem, which is the most minor of them, safety and the parking being the biggest ones. The Uber Eats situation, I know this is very specific to you, for you and, sorry, for you. Yeah, that I'd like to see when we talk to management, that he has names. I mean, they come with names of people. That's how Uber works. Right. That's something that man. I'm sorry.
It has to be in the podium. It cannot be conversation.
That's fine. He's not talking. They have names that accompany these Uber Eats. Not all of them will be in the building. Most of them will be. That they need to take responsibility for the residents. If somebody is putting, and I don't know how we're going to enforce this, but we're going to find the teeth to enforce it. If somebody is putting somebody else's address from the building just to circumvent their entrance situation, the building needs to take action against that resident of their building. Obviously, we can't take action against the person, but the building can take private action against their own tenant. And we need to be able to hold the building accountable for that they are doing that and they are enforcing that. We need to put a lot of pressure on these buildings.
Mr. Penn, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I'll finish up. Last thing, I will be talking to the attorney after this meeting to see how we kick off changing some ordinances in 282, because frankly, the 2014 ordinance that created the live-work units was a complete farce. There's live-work units in all these buildings that allowed them, under that ordinance, to have 30% more density. So I'll give you an example. In the building on 57th Avenue, that building was approved in 2005 originally with 140 units. Because of this live-work unit ordinance that was passed in 2014, which none of them actually work out of these live-work units, they're apartments, they were able to add from 140 to 194 units without changing the parking. Actually, I think it had less parking than the original building. So that ordinance needs to get go away, and the parking requirements need to be beefed up big time. But that, I'll be talking with the attorney after to see how we expedite that.
I want to,
Mr. Penna, could you speak to that, please, sir? I'd like a little more information on what the Vice Mayor just said
Which,
On the live-work
on the
units.
live-work units.
What was
Being a-
approved
being a com-
on
being a complete
57th
farce.
Avenue.
The live-work units.
the ordinance was drafted and it was passed, and it entitled the developer to use the area that was going to be used for commercial retail to turn that into units if he wished.
So in essence, it gave the developer the ability to add 30% more floor area ratio, which led to more density. And I just gave you the example of the 57th building, where in the special use permit locations, he in his memos you'll read it. It says the maximum residence is allowed, and then it will say the maximum plus these commercial or office live work units, and it will be an additional 50 additional. On one case, and I think the first 67th building, it was an additional 110 units, and it creates a lot more density that, frankly, it's a farce, because these live-work units, I don't know if you've ever seen them, they're on the ground floor on the 57th building, they're not offices, they're not retail, they're apartments with weird doors, and it just allowed them to get a lot more density.
Well,
That was by ordinance, Mr. Penna?
yes, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Attorney, I'd like you to work with Mr. Penna on this ordinance. I'd like a bit more information on the ordinance that the Vice Mayor is referring to. If you could get with Mr. Penna and then get back to us on that.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor,
Madam Mayor,
Okay,
I
let's
wanna
let
mention-
Mr. Penna finish.
at that time, the county and everyone else was pushing the live-work units in residential buildings, because they wanted to keep people off the roads and work out of your home if you could, okay? That's how it came about. It's not something that the developer thought of or anything else. It was something that was pushed on us by the county, and we looked at the smallest possible way of allowing it. And in fact, the live-work unit occupations are very, very small and restrictive to mom-and-pop type businesses. It's not allowed to have a cafeteria, or you're not allowed to do all kinds of other type of businesses out of there. It's either a lawyer working at his house, an architect working at his house. Whether people are actually doing it, it's yet to be seen.
I guess
No,
I'm really
I
not,
mean, I'm sorry,
I guess
I'm
I'm really
sorry.
not clear on how that has anything to do with the problems at hand. That's the
Well,
part I'm not
it's
clear
what the-
about.
Well, the
Because you
vice
added
mayor is
density.
saying it gave more density to the building, but at the same time, it removed commercial density from the building, because you no longer had commercial space that you were going to have a business running out of the bottom of the building
Yeah,
Where
but
where you'd have more cars coming to,
no,
during the daytime hours.
basically.
But they don't sleep there. You don't sleep
Right.
at an
Well,
office.
I was
You don't
just
sleep
trying to
at a-
see how that played into the problems we have here. I wanted to understand more what that had to do with the situation at hand. I believe, Elliot, one moment.
I just want to...
Commissioner, go ahead.
Typically, if you want to have a pet, the management will charge you more money to have a pet.
That depends on the-
Typically,
that depends on the
they
management
charge you
company.
more money. You want a pet, you pay more money. You want a
Mr. Asbelt,
You
Mr. Asbelt.
want to pay, you want to have an extra car, you pay an extra $50. The language of this management company is dollars, money. So I think that what we need to do is what the Vice Mayor alluded to. We need to put pressure on them. Because if they see themselves having to pay fines, and all of a sudden, their bottom line is affected, their business model will change. They will do something, and they will say, hey, we're not making money here, we're losing money. So, now that puts us in a position of strength. They're going to want to talk to us. They're going to want to meet with us. Because right now, we're asking them, hey, talk to us, meet with us. We have this problem. So if we put ourselves in a position of strength by applying the process as stringent as it can be to them, then they're going to be in a position where they're going to say, okay, all right, we want to work with you. We want to do something. And you know what? That will be not the time to let up.
Can I ask
Let them change their business model.
Yeah, to that point, can I ask a quick question? Has anyone in administration spoken to, I won't say their name, but the two developers that have, that were the developers of this building and the building 67th and the building 57th? Has anyone talked to them about these issues recently?
The one on 67?
No. I'm not talking about the water tower. I'm talking about
This one
these developers
here?
that still own that building, and they developed all the other buildings. They still own that one. Has anyone from the administration spoken to
Not my office.
them recently about these issues?
Yes.
Mr. Penna said he did already.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said you spoke to them recently
The
about these
management
issues?
company
Yeah.
and
No,
Mi-
right. I'm not talking
and
about
Mr.
the management, I'm talking about the
Castro.
owners.
And Tony Castro,
And
yes.
Tony Castro. What was Tony Castro's response?
He was going to look into it with management.
All right, so here's where we're gonna go with this. We've listened and we've heard every single word that you all have said. I've also heard from the chief, from Public Works, that we're already working on this. Our officer was there 2 weeks ago, so we've asked for some information back from staff. I need to give them time now to come to me with. We've offered some solutions, but now I need to give, the staff, the administration, Public Works, the police, to come back to us with something that they think may help. Even though, we all kind of already know what we can't do, but I'm sure there's probably things that we can do. So now I need to give them time to tell us that. So not only did we listen to you, but I know they did too. They heard you as we did. So a couple of ways we can go, and I told Commissioner Blanes that I would head this. Do you want them to come back? They're going to start working on this immediately. I know they're going to be on it tomorrow. Do you want us to bring all the information back to the next meeting, and you come back to the next meeting, or would you rather us perhaps communicate with you, pick up a lead person, and we'll communicate with that person via email? And that person can tell you all. How do you want us to get back to you with what we're doing and what we think we can do? How do you want us to get back to you? You want to come back to the next meeting? Go ahead.
I want to come back here.
You want to come back to the next meeting?
I think you need to have another open forum, just like we had tonight.
This would be the meeting. Or do you want to do like a workshop? I mean.
Let's get one thing first, and we can work on the workshop.
So let's work the next meeting. Do you feel comfortable with that, coming back to the next meeting, and we'll bring all our findings to you at that time? Is that show of hands? Is everyone okay with that? Okay, the majority.
Madam Mayor?
Mayor,
Madam Mayor?
I want to
Yes.
say something to this.
As the conversation was developing, I have been following Commissioner Blanes' instructions, and I have been doing already some research, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Now, but I need something from the record. I need to ask the chief a question, just to assist me. You have a violation, a traffic violation booklet, is that correct, where you write your tickets?
Talking about a ticket book or where you read the statutes?
No, the book that you write the ticket on.
Yes, they're done on computers now, but yeah.
And it has a box that says violation of statute or what?
Statute,
Statute. Do you have a box that says violation of local ordinance?
yes.
Okay.
Which Dade County ordinances are the ones we're allowed to write,
The Dade County ordinances.
correct?
Do you have one that says municipal ordinance?
No.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. Thank you,
Good.
sir.
I like the way that's going.
Typically,
Mayor,
Okay, one at a time.
and
Go ahead.
correct-
You're next,
correct
sir.
me if
You're
I'm,
next.
if I'm wrong, Mr. Attorney, but typically, if Miami-Dade County has an ordinance, let's say restricting something, the only way that we can address that same ordinance is if we make it stricter, right?
That would be a matter of research, Mr. Commissioner.
No,
I don't want to assert
Okay, we're going to.
something.
I'm going to jump
this
in. I'm going to
point-
jump in here. We have a plan of action that the chief, Mr. Penna, Mr. Attorney, Madam Manager, Madam Clerk, because I know you're taking all the notes. So you know what you got to look into. We all know that. So you have the next 2 weeks to come back to us for the next meeting. Madam Clerk, please put this please put this on the agenda as a follow-up, an agenda item. I don't want to do it under public comments. Let's do it under an agenda item. And we'll come back and let the residents know where we are. If, we need more time to find out more things, but we'll at least be able to provide the residents some information as to what we see, what we can do.
Madam Mayor, you'll get a report from our office with input from all the department
Exactly, that's
directors.
perfect.
And addressing each one of the categories that was discussed here: nuisance, parking, poop, food delivery, everything,
But
egress and ingress.
I do want this as an agenda item for the
Yes,
next meeting.
duly noted.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is an agenda item. It's been set as an agenda item for the next meeting, which is May 19 at 7:30.
Correct.
You are all welcome back. Mr. Elsbeth, if it's going to be short, okay, very quick.
Mayor, I want to
And
talk.
then you're next, yes. Yes, sir.
I want to tell you,
Oh, no.
all of you,
Wait,
no,
let Elliot speak. I
No,
invited
no,
him
I
first.
defer to the
You're next.
commission. I defer to the commissioner.
Oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Yo,
no, you give him the word.
I didn't know he was deferring to you. He deferred to you. Go ahead, Commissioner Suarez.
Number one, and it's simple, and it will help the police in part as how you move forward, help the chief. The various...
To us, Elliot.
God help me. The various residents.
Chief, hold his hands on the podium,
Just
would you?
The various residents, it would be helpful that as you have difficulty,
Lower your mask, Elliot. Lower your mask so I can hear you.
as you have difficulty exiting or entering, and this is just the one issue.
You said you're going to make this quick, don't forget.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That it would be helpful if before you call the police, you jot down the license plate numbers of the vehicles in question. That will give the chief and his department a leg up in terms of, are they visitors in the apartment houses? Have they have nothing to do with the whose cars are they? So you can establish what Commissioner Blanes is talking about, a laser focus, and it would help expedite moving forward. And it's not asking a lot. They're going to call the police anyhow. By your advice, I'm saying they come out, oh my God, I can't move my car, jot down the license plate number, call the police department, give the license department, you're through, and let the authorities work. The last thing I wanted to address, and I'm sure after Counselor investigates it, Commissioner Blanes, you're incorrect usually.
Elliot, make it quick.
As relates to strictness, as relates to the state and preemption. As a matter of fact, just recently, if you're reading the papers, the governor of our state is looking to undermine all home rule and take state control and take away municipalities of all sizes power.
Unfortunately, we go through that every legislative session. Thank you, Elliot. I know. I know. Thank you. Thank you, Elliot. And thank you for making it short. You kept your word. Commissioner
Yes,
Suarez.
I just want to let you know this. You have been here for 50 years. Many of you, Frank, you have been for 40, I've been for 30. Most of us have been for many years. Your problem is our problem, because we are a big family. So you may be sure that the commission is going to work very hard for this problem. I remember a couple of years ago, Commissioner Blanes it was not the same problem, something similar, and he had some ideas about some stickers or something. And then Mr. Smart brought about the same, more or less something about that. But anyway, you may go home now thinking that we are, because I was not aware of the big problem you have. Frank, you never told me. I never, but anyway, we know now your problem, and this commission will work very hard, and we'll tell these builders about the problem they have, and like a Uber, I imagine that Uber, this building have to have an address, and I think they have to deliver to the address.
They do, sir. They're
I
giving
don't
Mr.
want-
Fajardo, Commissioner, they're giving
I
Mr.
don't want
Fajardo's
to-
address. That's the problem.
a conversation, because we are
No, no,
finishing
I'm
now.
saying,
I just want to tell you that we are going to take care of everything. That's what I want to let you know. We were going to take care of everything, and I tell you, we are going to work very hard for this.
thank you, Commissioner. Mr.
Madam-
Fajardo,
Ma-
we know, they're giving your address. I know, we'll look into that. And I'm so sorry that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for everything that you're going through, but we're on it, and please return next Wednesday at 7:30.
No, next Wednesday.
I'm sorry, the 19th at 7:30, and we will continue this conversation.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I forget the reason why the sticker program was not implemented, but if you can please add that to the list and look into that.
Add that to the list,
It was a
Madam
long
Clerk,
time
Madam
ago,
Manager.
and I don't remember, but that's something that we
The
can,
stickers for the cars.
yeah, for residential parking.
Right. So, yeah, we're going to look at every solution that was brought up, and perhaps some solutions that managed staff will come up with. We're not saying that there isn't anything we can do. We are going to look into it and see what we can do. Okay? Yes?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Venga.
Principalmente por la tranquilidad de
I'm
nosotros.
baja
I'm
esto,
sorry, I
baja-
couldn't hear her.
Go.
Principalmente por la tranquilidad de nosotros los residentes.
Primarily for the
Claro.
peace and quiet for us, the
Claro.
residents of the city.
Claro, señor.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming. You're welcome to
Thank you.
stay, but you're welcome to leave, whatever. Thank you all for taking your time and coming and letting us know your thoughts and your concerns. And our doors are always open, always.
Thank you.
And my cell number is on our website, so you feel free to call me at any time. Yes, sir.
On the,
Podium.
sir,
This was my first time.
name and address, please.
Name and address, Rafael H. Figueras, 6278 Southwest de la calle 9. Si nunca participé...
If you can speak English, or you have
Oh,
to have
yes.
that translation.
Either way. Je parle
It's
français
gotta be
aussi.
English, right? No, we don't have a translator for that.
Ah, c'est bien, madame. In English. If I was never here before, it's because this is a great city, very well managed and run, from the police, from the code enforcement, Mr. Pena, to you, and I don't want to avoid mention, all of you commissioners. Reason why I was never here before, I was very satisfied. This is my first time because I'm not dissatisfied with your performance, but
Understood. Completely understood.
it's something new that has to be stopped. And I thank you for your time and your courtesy for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Good
night.
night. Good night.
Commissioner Blanca needs a 5-minute break.
She needs to go to the bathroom.
5 minutes? Okay. Do you need a break, Commissioner? No? Yes or no? No. Okay, no, never mind. We don't need a break.
You don't need a break?
Okay, next item. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Madam Mayor, can I make a request, a recommendation? We have an
Absolutely.
agenda item, items 11A and B.
Yes,
This is a mitigation
yes,
request.
they've
and
been
our
waiting
residents are
very
here.
patiently. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Can we take it out of order?
We can take it right now. Thank you for that. I was
Yes,
actually going to
can
say that, and I forgot.
Yeah, can I read the items?
Absolutely.
Yes, item 11 under new business agenda items, item 11A. This is a request for mitigation.
Madam Clerk, gentlemen, Mr. Smart, Mr. Attorney, Chief, if you don't mind. Thank you. It's mitigation, sir. We need your attention.
I'm sorry?
We're proceeding with 11A and B at this time. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Yes, item 11A, request for mitigation of liens for code violations at the property located at 5771 Southwest 11th Street, West Miami, Florida, 33144, and owners Carlos and Ana Piñero.
Mr. Pena?
Good evening. Again, Mayor, Commissioners, Vice Mayor. The property at 5771 Southwest 11th Street was cited for an easement violation Unfortunately, the notice went to the property and not to where the owner resided at the time, so it accumulated fines over a period of time. It was cleared eventually, and they are here tonight to mitigate the fine.
Okay. Please. Name and address, again, for the record.
No problem. So Carla Lorenzo, and the address that we're referring to is the 5771 Southwest 11th Street, and I currently live in 5810 Southwest 10th Street. Okay? Thank you for the opportunity of letting us come tonight. Obviously, we were unaware of this. My brother and I are the property owner currently of that house. We were completely unaware that the house even had a lien in place until it was closing time, because we recently put it for sale. And that's when we were notified that we had a lien on the property. At that point, we came to the city. He was super helpful in assisting us to try to even figure out what the purpose and the reasoning behind the lien was. Then subsequently, it was something that ended up happening in 2011, which was resolved, apparently, because there's no violation in the property. I lived at the property at the time, actually. So that's when we were first notified that there was a lien in place for the home.
Did you say 2011?
Yes, 2011. That's how long ago, and we were completely unaware. It was the title company that notified us that we had a lien in place, and the lien was apparently served September 2012 to the property, which at that point I had already moved to my new home, which is in 5810. And if something was served to the property, it was to the tenants back then, and we were never, I was unaware.
In 2011?
Yes.
Mr. Bena, and so the fines have been accumulating since then?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm looking at the package here. Am I correct in seeing the last notice that was sent was September 12 of 2012?
That's correct. That's when the lien was placed. It went to the board. By the time it went to the board, the fines were at whatever the amount is. And then at that time, in that last hearing, the board motioned to lien the property since there was no response from the property. Again, the notices were going to the property. The property owner lives at a different address. So whatever the tenant was doing with the notice, it had proper service. Unfortunately, they were not aware of it, but it did occur.
And this is all for utility easement? And that was taken care of back in 2012?
Yes. After.
After the notice, right?
That's correct.
Yes?
Actually, when I lived at the property and I was notified of that,
Come closer to the microphone.
we resolved the issue right away. So in 2012, there was no violation in the property at all. Back then, I do know that, I'm not sure his name, Charlie, it was a person back then. He came to the property. I was living there at the time. It was completely resolved. It was just an overgrown hedge, apparently, and that was taken care of right away. It was not, I guess maybe, and I'm not alleging anything by no means, but maybe he forgot to close out the case, and obviously it just elongated and got to this extent. But it was definitely not a violation in 2012. And we were never made aware. And what I find it odd, obviously, the city is not the biggest city, but there are a lot of residents that reside here. In total, we own about 9 properties in the city. We're very well known here. My dad calls the city, and they know him by voice. And I just find it very odd that in no communication or no single conversation were we even aware of this lien that was being served on our property. And also, from a legal standpoint, my understanding is, and I spoke to our attorney, the property any notices to that property should be going to 5800 Southwest 10th Street, which is where my father lives. But I'm not sure why it was served then to 5771, where a tenant was living at the time.
When did you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you said you cleared it in 2012, the violation, how were you informed that there was a problem?
In 2011,
Right,
when this
how
occurred
were
in
you informed?
2011, actually referring back to the date, I even went onto my Google Drive with pictures. October 7th of 2011, I was in Disney World with my daughter. She was born in April of that year, and it was our family trip, and we were there. And if we recall correctly, Charlie called my father and told him about it, the moment we got back, we resolved it right away. He said, no problem, Carlos, everything's taken care of. And we never heard anything again.
So as
So
far as,
now
as
we're
far as you
getting-
knew, Charlie cleared
Yeah.
it and it was a done deal.
And we never heard a single thing again. I then ended up buying the property on 10th Street, and we come to find out about this lien now when it's time to close on the property. And my understanding, I'm not sure if it was with, I'm not sure with who in the city. The title company had a conversation, and it's somewhere around $29,000 that we currently have.
Okay. Mr. Penn, anything else?
Again, the notices for code enforcement is governed by Florida statute. They must go to the property address on the tax rolls. That's where they went. Whether the property owner lives on 58th and 10th, we can't take that notice over there. If he wants us to take that notice over there, he has to go to the tax appraiser and say, send all my notices from this property to my address. Okay? So we followed the law. When the violation occurs, yes, you may have taken some time to have cleared the violation, but that amount of money that accumulated during that violation stays active and eventually goes to the Code Enforcement Board for you to come and mitigate with the board. Again, there were opportunities and notices sent regarding the notice of hearing and regarding the time that it appeared on the Code Enforcement Board's docket. If you didn't attend because you didn't pick up the notice, again, the city must proceed with what's required by the code and what's required by state statute when citing a property. We have done that in this case. So just because Miami-Dade tax appraiser has 5771 as the property mailing address, the city, just because they know that Mr. Pinheiro lives on 10th Street, cannot grab that notice and take it to him. Okay?
I got it. My concern here is that if the resident was told, they were made aware of the situation, they fixed it, and they were told it was clear, and for some reason, I don't know, it wasn't cleared. That's my only concern here. Yes.
And just to voice, obviously, I was born and raised in the city. I am not confrontational. I've never even attended these meetings. I must disagree with you, and I'm very sorry to do so, very politely. I
Remember
do
to
disagree.
address us.
Because simply the fact that a couple years after, we even did a brand new roof on the property, and we have the records to show that what was recorded was to go to 5800. Recently, when the house was transferred to my name and my brother's name, which is here present as well, that's when the property address changed. But before that, the record and any notifications to that property should have been going to the property owner, which is 5800 Southwest 10th Street, not 5771. I mean, I'm not here to have any confrontation. I just want to mitigate this. I would like to resolve this issue. I've been a happy resident my whole entire life in the city. I plan to continue living here as I own other properties. So I just want to come to a solution to this problem.
I understood. I think your brother,
past is
did
the
you have your
past.
hand up? Did you want to say something? Oh, I thought, oh, okay.
I talk to him all the time.
Okay, thank you. Elliot, no. Not a public hearing, Elliot. Thank you, sir. Madam Manager, did you have anything to add to this?
We've looked at the file, Juan and I think unfortunately what occurred was we were following the statute on serving code enforcement and serving the property, which is the proper way to serve the property. We mailed U.S. mail and we certified mail. We have confirmation that the letter was never claimed at the post office because at the time the house was rented, and I guess your tenants never really followed up with it and didn't give you the notice. We have time on the file, like we do in every code enforcement situation.
What is your
I think
recommendation? What is your recommendation?
my recommendation is, in order to recover the file, that we reduce the fine to $1,500. Of course, this is a recommendation from staff. I've discussed it with Mr. Pena, and that's what we recommend that you proceed with.
Any other questions from the table? Mr. Blanes?
This is a non-structural
It's a utility
Correct.
easement.
Violation.
Utility
This,
easement.
Correct.
This was not any type of legal construction. This was not anything that was going to cause any hazard to the community. This was just a hedge,
Right.
and it was resolved right away. So, you know, I realize that we do have an expense involved in keeping track of this file, but, you know, with what's been said here, you know, I think that the recommendation is excessive, you know. I think that, you know, it'd be more in terms of, you know, hopefully covering our cost of doing all the certified mailings and following up with a file, maybe in terms of $500 versus $1,500. You know, that way we recover some of that expense and we give relief, you know, to the resident, since, you know, they did take care of the issue many years ago, and, you know, and the process, it was never clear, and the process just kept going. And, you know, I may add, this process that we have is very important. It is what makes our city, you know, run, and is a law, and you know, it's a process that we must follow. That's why you are here.
And I
Thank you,
totally
Commissioner.
appreciate, you know, your feedback and your comments. And I agree, all code enforcements and every violation should be enforced. By no means I want to deviate from that. But obviously, if we would have been made aware of anything, I would have, you know, rectified the issue immediately. I mean,
Understood.
in all of our properties, we maintain all of our homes. Grass is always well cut, well painted.
I do have a
houses.
question on that note, if you would, one moment. Mr. Penna, because Ms. Lorenzo mentioned she has many other properties. Have we ever had any issues with any of her other properties, to your
No.
knowledge?
No.
Okay, thank you.
What about Charlie's not
Mr. Elliott, no.
I'll back Commissioner Blanes.
I
was going
motion.
I was going the same,
I make a
the same
motion
way.
to
Actually, if you would take a friendly amendment, and I know staff
Yes.
is going to kill me, but I want to waive it completely.
That's the right answer.
Because if, I
second that,
to
Madam-
Charlie's credit, you know,
Madam
things
Mayor.
happen, and if that is indeed what happened,
Charlie fell through.
that, you know, it fell through the cracks, and everything I'm hearing is leading me to think that, then that's
Th-
my friendly amendment to your.
Thank you, and it's accepted. Thank you very much for saying that.
Okay.
That is, Madam Mayor, that is leadership.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
We had to read the resolution.
It's
We have to read
accepted.
the resolution. Madam,
Well,
well, wait a minute, maybe we don't have to read the
Whose motion was
resolution.
this,
We
by?
have not read the resolution.
We have the-
I don't know how to
please-
proceed on this.
I'm sorry,
I made
Commissioner
a motion
Suarez
and-
was trying to.
I'm
say
sorry?
something. Commissioner
Make a
Suarez was
motion.
So
trying
we
to.
don't have to read the resolution if the,
Yeah, right.
well, we can put an amount of 0, right?
Yeah.
So we need to read the resolution. It's on the record, Madam Clerk. Please read the resolution.
Okay, item 11B, resolution of Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation of $0 from Carlos and Ana Piñero on code enforcement lien for code violation of the property located at 5771 Southwest 11th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid by
Non-applicable?
Non-applicable?
Not NA, yes, then the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date.
I think I already had a motion
Second.
and a second.
A
Call the-
second by, I apologize.
Pick Vice Mayor or Commissioner Suarez.
By Commissioner Suarez. Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate all of you.
Thank you for your
the
time, and I'm
opportunity.
sorry you had to wait.
No, no
The
problem.
public
As long as it
comments
got
were very
resolved.
long this evening.
Madam
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I may,
Yes.
there is a $12 charge for the release of lien that has to be paid by the property owner.
That's all
Sorry.
All right.
That's all yours. You guys
So how
decide
do we
you guys
issue
decide who's
payment?
paying it.
How do we issue payment?
Please come and see the city clerk. She'll be in the office tomorrow. We'll prepare a release of lien and
Thank you so much. I
Resolve
will be
this.
here tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have
for
a
your
good
time.
night. Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for your time. Good night. Thank you. Anybody need a break or no? Commissioner, you need a break? Commissioner Blanca, you need a break or no? We're all good to go? Okay, next item.
Madam Mayor, you let me know how would
Oh,
you
we
like
gotta
to
proceed, we gotta proceed, I'm sorry. Back to the original
order?
yes.
Yes, item 6, report of the city manager.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, I've been mostly concentrated on the orders from the state of Florida, the Office of the Governor. I've issued memorandums of that, on that issue, and administrative orders. We've been relying on information from the Managers Association. Mr. Villalobos and I attended a meeting yesterday, and I think that we were so frustrated that we left so more confused than how we entered the meeting. But the fact of the matter is that this afternoon I sent you a follow-up to the Miami-Dade County emergency orders and the protocols that are in place. It's a statement from Mayor Daniela Levine Cava regarding the summary of what the county attorneys have opined based on their interpretation of the governor's executive order. And basically, the county is still come to the conclusion that there remains a federal mask mandate on certain of their public trains and buses and metro rail and whatnot, and that the order does not force us to terminate the local state of emergency. So that being said, as we have relied in the past with the executive orders coming out of the mayor's office for Miami-Dade County, I believe that we should continue observing those executive orders. We have advised our employees that they need to wear masks until the order is lifted or until modifications are made. The signage is outside our City Hall offices. We're posting COVID-19 on our website. All the publications that come out, we're advising our residents on our social media platform. However, the governor's order did not really, there was some loopholes, if you would, based on what the attorney for Weiss-Serota, who was the presenter on the way that she talked to the group yesterday, she said, and it was Susan Weintraub from Weiss-Serota, is that municipalities should not give up the right to enforce our emergency orders. And so the county has preserved their position on this, and we're going to follow their lead. We've done everything possible to isolate areas dealing with the public, like these acrylic separations. We do have social distancing in our lobbies, and obviously this has an overflow effect on the services that we continue to review, and those that are listed on the agenda we'll talk about shortly. So we're closely monitoring this, and obviously Mr. Villalobos is involved with in these conversations as well. So any changes will be communicated to everybody in writing at the same time. The commission, the mayor, all the department directors continuously get updates.
Thank you, Madam Manager.
So we're doing everything we can to make sure that we follow their call.
Is that the end of your report?
That would
No.
be the end of my report.
Any questions for the
Yes.
manager?
Thank you.
Any questions for the manager?
No, thank you.
Thank you,
You
Madam
agree,
Manager.
Mr. Attorney?
I'm sorry?
Do you agree?
Well, there's a push and a shove. So the issue is that when we participated yesterday in the meeting, there were like 30 people, more or less,
More, yeah.
and lawyers and managers and the like. And the issue is that everybody had an opinion, and I think that we should err in the position of caution. And I fully agree with the manager that being cautious is the best course of action. There's still about, I read that there's 7,000 more cases of COVID every day in Miami-Dade County. So I fully concur with her.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Any questions? No. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item
Thank you,
7.
Madam Manager.
Yes, item 7, report of the city attorney.
Well, that was my report. She took the wind out of my sails. So
Sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay. It was
Next,
very thorough.
next item, that's
Item.
because
But
you,
it was quite interesting. It was very long and very at times
Frustrating.
contentious, but it was very rewarding that people are interested in more than the written paper, and people are being cautious on the side of being protecting health and safety and welfare of the people, especially commencing with ourselves.
thank you, sir. Next item,
Item 8, report of city engineer, none this evening. Item 9, committee report, report of the mayor.
I don't have one, Madam Clerk.
Any other committee?
Next item,
Next item would be item 10, unfinished business. Item 10A, follow-up report by the Office of the City Clerk in reference to board membership. This item was instructed to be brought back at the April 21st Commission meeting. And at that meeting, this office, the Office of the City Clerk, and together with the City Attorney, were instructed to present a proposal in regards to the membership to the Planning and Zoning Board, Code Enforcement, and Recreation Advisory Boards. So this office submitted to you via a memorandum, a proposal, a request, a plan of action, which is inclusive in your agenda packet. And I've submitted what I thought was the best course of action, and I yield to you, to this body, for any recommendation and instructions on how to proceed.
first of all, Madam Clerk, I have to say, and I already told you in person, this was an excellent report, and recommendation. I mean, you
Thank
did
you.
exactly what we asked you to do, so you were very thorough in the report, so thank you. Okay, I will open it up to the table. If there's any comments or questions, I'm sure we've all read the clerk's very thorough report, so if you have any questions, now's the time.
Madam Clerk, I can't remember if it was a discussion or in the report where we discussed starting to make the appointment at June 2nd meeting. Was that a discussion I had with you, or was that in the report?
Yes, in a conversation we had, I expressed that it was up to this legislative body to determine when the appointments or reappointments should take place. If you would like to do so, we can bring this item back at the June 2nd meeting. I should also inform you that I won't be able to attend the second meeting, the June 2nd meeting, because I'll be out of the office on annual leave. I'll make the request to you on tomorrow. So even if I'm not on the meeting, of course you are. I mean, it's okay to make any appointment. At that point, I'll leave the city manager as an ex officio city clerk, and any appointment will be welcomed, and then we'll determine a course of action in terms of the terms, which I recommend to be determined by lot on my memorandum.
Right, so my recommendation would be that we start making the appointments June 2nd, and then maybe if we like run it to the next meeting following that. That way it gives everyone time to interview candidates, whatever they want to do to make sure that they get their appointment correct. And also gives the clerk time to send out any notices that she needs to send out to inform the board members what's going on, because I don't think that's happened yet, and anything else that needs to be done. So my recommendation would be that we don't bring it forward on the May 19th, but start at June 2nd. Obviously, in the meantime, Mr. Attorney and Mr. Director, the board doesn't exist, so we can't be having planning and zoning meetings during that time period until there's a legitimate board appointed. But that would be my recommendation.
I'm sorry, we're going to say the board doesn't exist? That's a slap in the face to our residents who have served faithfully for how long? And now we're going to tell them they don't exist?
No, their terms have
I
expired.
won't.
They're not sitting in their current seats, and nobody is. The board, in terms of function and validity, does not exist.
They exist.
exist as
Vice
people, they
Mayor.
don't exist as board members.
So we're going to cancel, we're not going to have meetings, and the residents that have things pending are not going to be allowed to come
Okay,
forward?
let's do this very simply. Mr. Attorney, can we have
Exactly.
another planning and zoning meeting validly?
And
Well-
if not, then what happens to all the ones we've had? What are we going to say, they're all invalid as well?
Well, I have a theory on that if you want to hear it, which is that
I
this board
want to
ratified.
hear the attorney, I want to hear the attorney's theory.
There's a situation that exists right now that we have discovered, and I believe that even though the both boards have served very faithfully, that at the point as brought out by the Vice Mayor, the term had lapsed, so you should appoint people that with the staggered terms. And yes, I believe that you should have the meetings commencing after you have nominated the people. There's only 30 days. I don't know that. Do you have anything urgent, Mr. Pena?
No, not at this time.
Okay. That would be the best course of action, I would say.
And how is his appointment going to take place, Mr. Attorney?
It-
How many spots do we have to appoint? There's only 5 of us. So what's the total of all these boards that we have to appoint people? And how is that process going to take place?
Madam Mayor, you have 9 members on the Code Enforcement Board, which is 7 members and 2 alternates, and you have 5 members on the Planning and Zoning Board with 1 alternate. But nothing keeps you from reappointing the people that are serving now today.
But in what order will we do that? That's what I'm saying. Who goes first in their appointment?
It doesn't really matter.
You
I mean,
appoint
there's-
everyone making an appointment, doesn't matter. Did you read,
It
it's in the
starts-
memo. Everyone makes an appointment. Everyone makes one appointment.
And you want to do this at the June 2nd meeting?
I was suggesting, it was a suggestion that we started in the June 2nd meeting. That way, it gives everyone here time to interview their candidates and interview and decide who they want to appoint. 2 weeks, I think, might be too short to do that and to notice the board members what's going on in formal letters and whatnot. So that was my recommendation was June 2nd.
All right, so we have 14 positions to appoint to.
No, the memo doesn't say
9
that.
and 5 is 14.
But the whole code enforcement board isn't getting reappointed.
How many positions do we have to appoint to, Mr. Penna?
But,
Was it 3 or 4?
no, it's more like 5 or 6.
For the code enforcement board or planning?
Total,
Code
total,
enforcement,
total.
okay. From the code enforcement, if you go to the memo, there are members that, whose term has not, are not expired yet.
How many members?
Some, okay, how many members on the code enforcement board? We have 8 members.
That their terms haven't expired?
Okay. According to the memo, and as I said in the memo, if we follow the guidelines by Florida statute, section 16205, Lisa Coelho expires in November 2021, Michael Smart and Raul de la Rosa. Natalie Milian is serving, if she's serving 2 terms, expires in 2023, and Janet Vasquez, Lourdes Gonzalez, and Antonia Chavez, they expire in November 2022.
So how many vacancies do you have in the code enforcement?
Well, Mrs. Smart has resigned. I have to forward you
I'm
his
not
email.
aware
I
of
haven't
that.
seen anything.
I have to forward you his email.
So, I mean, from now, we have 2.
Okay.
Two in code enforcement?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, nothing keeps you, if you're satisfied with your board, from making the motion today and reappointing them.
So
I make a motion.
Absolutely not.
I make a
We
motion.
discussed this.
I make a
Everyone
motion.
should get an
No, no,
appointment.
Madam
Absolutely
Mayor,
not.
hold-
Nobody
hold
goes with that
yours.
motion.
Mr. Penna, just...
Mr. Penna is not on this commission.
Chairs-
Mr. Penna is not serving on this commission.
Excuse me, sir, I can listen to my public
Absolutely.
services
I'm just saying,
director.
I am very against the motion. I hope everyone does not, no one seconds that motion.
So I think the effect that we want to obtain here is to be legal, to abide by our ordinance.
And there's nothing saying we can't
there's
keep them that are there,
There's nothing that precludes us
from keeping them.
from reassigning or appointing again the serving members.
That's correct. All you have to do is give them a term limit, that's all.
Give them a term limit.
I mean, I do respect to those residents that have, again, faithfully served. That's the very least we can do. Even if we make it for a very short term, that is the very least. If I was them, I would take this as a slap in the face. Thank you for what you've done, but you're out of here.
Absolutely not.
Because of our failure to realize that whatever, our failure to pick up on this.
They are serving the city. There is a lot of people in this community who, because of the fact that nobody was keeping track of the fact that they have 3-year terms, have not had the opportunity to serve.
We'll give them the opportunity. As soon as if we choose to reappoint these for a short period of time, to let them finish gracefully, to not let them kick them out the door, that's what we should do.
Absolutely. I believe, three, including yourself, 3 members of this commission do not have appointments on the Code Enforcement Board today. I know you've made a lot of appointments to Planning and Zoning. I know you've made like 7 appointments to the Code Enforcement Board, but no, you don't have an appointment to the Planning and Zoning. Neither do I. Neither does Commissioner Blanca. The Code of 4 terms are set up so that when new commissioners come in, they can make their appointments to the people they trust in the community and they want to serve in those boards. That has been limited because no one has kept track of the terms for one case for 17 years. So there's one that's expired for 17 years. They don't open up. We need to allow people to serve the community who
and we will.
I'm totally against your motion. I think the fairest way to do it is everyone gets 1 appointment. If you want to appoint somebody who's on the board, I encourage you to appoint somebody who's on the board right now. But every one of these commissioners gets 1 appointment.
Can I interject and say
something? Absolutely.
Vice Mayor, I applaud your passion. I really, really do. Because you are right. He is correct.
But we can't fault our residents for that.
And you know what? And thankfully, he brought that up. That's something that we had overlooked.
Agreed.
And you, Madam Mayor, I applaud your passion too, and I agree with you too. Okay, it would be a slap in the face to those that have served faithfully for so long. Again, we sit here and we need to try to find balance. Okay, we need to find something that can be acceptable. And like I say, there's passion on your side and there's passion on your side, Vice Mayor, but for the sake of keeping the city functioning and addressing and serving as we need to find an amicable, agreeable solution here with some type of balance, and we need to decide, and like you say, it could be a very short period of time.
Let them finish gracefully.
And then from then on, you know what? We would faithfully, execute, the process as we should, as has been brought up by the Vice Mayor.
Very clear. There is a recommendation by the clerk on this, and it's in the memo. The recommendation was that everyone appoint 1 member. This idea that it could be a very short time is totally false. There is terms. They start on June 30th of June 30th, right? The terms start and end on June 30th, correct?
For the planning.
For planning and zoning.
For the planning and zoning is June, and for the code enforcement is November.
So we don't just decide, okay, we're going to give them a term of 2 years, and this one a term of 1 year, and this one, we're going to have them serve for a short time. They have terms. We just haven't been following it for a very, very long time, which is dangerous because this is a quasi-judicial board that requires a 4/5 vote to overturn. So this is something that we can't just play around with. I think that there has to be appointments made, and I think we have to get away from this idea that this board doesn't have terms just like us. The only difference is we're elected. Hold on. We're elected, right? But they are appointed. But the terms are exactly the same. They have 3-year terms. We have 4-year terms. Once their terms expired, just like once our terms expire, we are no longer sitting here. They have the same exact setup. It's not a slap in the face. It's actually, frankly, a slap in the face to all the residents in the years and years who haven't been able to give an opportunity to serve. So I fully respect anyone who serves the city because they don't get, they get paid $20 or whatever, but they don't get paid to do this. But I don't see why you have to just re-up everybody, because what? Because there are 30 days? For 30 days when the director has even told us there's no urgent matters coming? For 30 days, let's get it right. Let's all make an appointment, right? The terms will be decided by law by the clerk afterwards, just like it would have to happen if you appointed the whole board today, because there's no way to determine the terms otherwise. and let's go with the city clerk's recommendation that she wrote this beautiful memo on, and everybody appoint one person. One person. Everyone gets one appointment. 5 seats, 5 commissioners. Everybody gets one appointment, and then let's just move on.
You know, I like to say something, and I agree with you, Vice Mayor. You know, this is the proper way to do things. But considering how hard it is to find a resident of the city of West Miami to serve and devote their time, you know, I mean, I have struck out so many times trying to get a resident to serve on the Code Enforcement Board,
We all
to
have,
serve
sir.
on the Planning and
We all
Zoning
have,
Board.
sir.
I mean, and again, the people that we have are people that somehow, you know, within them have found, you know, the interest to serve because they know that they are doing something that the city needs. So,
Agree.
But this is very simple, Commissioner. I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying.
Well,
It's
let
very
him
simple.
finish.
If
Let him
there's-
finish,
no,
sir.
I mean,
if you can't find somebody to serve, right? Because somebody new, it doesn't have to be someone new. Reappoint someone who's currently serving on the board.
That's what we just said.
And we will.
I'm
what we
saying,
just
but
said.
as your appointment, as your individual appointment, not collective appointment across the board, everyone just go ahead and continue. I'm saying if you can't find somebody, I can give you a lot of recommendations of people who want to serve, but if you can't find somebody, or you have somebody on the board who you would appoint independently, appoint them. There's no, I mean, experience is a good thing, appoint them. But, you know, I don't see why that's an argument for having to just go forward and reappoint everybody and then do the same thing we would do if we all had an appointment. Let's just make it equitable. There's 5 commissioners, 5 appointments, everybody makes an appointment. You're not restricted. If you can't find somebody, appoint somebody who's currently on the board, no problem.
I think it's disrespectful, to be a disgrace to the current members.
What's a
If we-
disgrace is that
if
they were
we
never
ju-
told their
if we-
terms.
If we say, well, that happened a long time ago, Vice Mayor. None of us were sitting up here then, so there's nothing we can do about that at this time. I just do not want to, in their face, disrespect our current board members by saying, you're out of here. Just like that.
Their term is up. Their term is up. You can reappoint them. I would love to have a, you know, for the members who aren't reappointed, I would love to have a you know, recognition, a little parade for them that they haven't got in 17 years probably. But it's not a justification for just reappointing across the board. I'm sorry. Every commissioner should get their appointment if they have sat here.
And you will, when we get back on track to appointing by the
Look,
terms.
everyone knows my position. That's it.
May I go?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Elliot,
Okay, let me tell you something.
yes, but, yeah, Elliot, let Commissioner Blanca speak. Go ahead,
Okay.
Commissioner Blanca, go ahead.
I serve in the code enforcement and in zoning board. And one day they told me, your time is up. And somebody else said, nominate me for zoning board until I came here.
Okay,
But that day I said, your termination is up.
okay, thank you. Commissioner Suarez, did you have something to say? Commissioner Suarez, did you have something to say, or were you trying to get my attention for Commissioner Blanca? Okay, I guess it was getting my attention for Commissioner Blanca.
I'm going to make a motion to go with the clerk's recommendation.
We don't have a second.
I did.
Can there be a clarification on exactly what this motion is, what it entails?
Sure. Madam Clerk, can you explain your recommendation?
Okay, according to, my recommendation
What is
is,
the motion?
let's go by boards. Planning and Zoning Board to appoint or reappoint all members. For the Code Enforcement Board, as I state on my memo, there are members whose term will expire in 2021 if we follow the guidelines of the statute. Lisa Coelho and Ralph De La Rosa, because Michael Smart, I just learned that he resigned or will resign. Lisa Coelho and Ralph De La Rosa will expire in November of 2021. Natalie Milian in 2023. Janet Vasquez Lourdes Gonzalez and Antonia Chavez in 2022, and Jerry Diaz, who is the alternate, expires in November of 2023. My recommendation is to appoint or reappoint those members, each of you to appoint those a member to the Code Enforcement Board, since I consider that their terms have lapsed already. And after that, subsequent to that, to determine to determine by law the terms for those members. But you should.
Did you say to reappoint those members? Is that
Okay.
what you just said?
It's your decision.
Okay, no,
to
go ahead.
the
I want to be
members
sure I heard
or
you say
to
that.
Appoint or reappoint.
Go ahead, go. Okay.
Be aware that they have term limits and they've served already certain terms. So I tried to explain it in the best way possible, but it's up to you. How would you like to proceed?
What I'm asking, Madam Clerk, is not for you to give an additional recommendation. I'm making a motion to accept your recommendation. So I just need you to explain to the board what that is, what your recommendation is. We understand that it's our decision. What I'm saying is, please explain your recommendation.
She just did, to reappoint.
No, but
The
on the
existing
planning
board.
and zoning as well, the planning and zoning.
Okay, for planning and zoning, my recommendation
I
was
don't
to.
understand the recommendation.
Okay.
I don't understand anything in the motion. Because what do you want? You want to everybody out?
Yes.
That's what you want?
Yes.
No,
You
that's
want
what
to
the
be
law says, that they're already out.
But you want the zoning board be empty? That's
Well,
what you want?
not for long, you're gonna make an
But
appointment.
that's what you're looking for?
That's what
That's
exists.
your motion?
That's what,
But that's
that's
your
what
motion?
exists today.
Yes.
But that's your motion?
Yes, that's my motion. That's what exists today.
I second it, because in 30 days,
And the zoning board without members?
No, we will have.
That's what he motioned.
You're gonna make, that's what exists today, Commissioner. That's what exists today. Today, the zoning board does not have members. Today, the zoning board does not have members. What I'm requesting is to appoint the zoning board.
We don't have our residents faithfully sitting there every time they come. We don't have members. Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead,
did you
Commissioner.
understand the law?
Go ahead. No, I'm not a lawyer, Vice Mayor, so I guess I don't.
Well, maybe you should go.
And I don't need you to school me on the law, by the way.
Oh,
I will
okay.
have my attorney school me on the law.
Oh, I'm sorry, the one who plays school teacher is you.
No,
I'm not the one who
I'm
plays
just
school
saying, I
teacher.
don't need you to school me on the law.
Oh,
That is my attorney's
Well,
job.
the attorney did, so you didn't listen to it.
Elliot.
Go ahead. Commissioner, go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner, go ahead. Commissioner, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón, if I understand, and I'm going to repeat, your motion is to tell all the members in the zoning board, your term is up, you have to go out from the board. So the zoning board is going to be without members.
No, my recommendation is to appoint a zoning board. The zoning board does not have members today. Today, their terms have expired. The planning and zoning
So
board does not have
according
members today.
with your idea, I told you the other day, if we don't have people, if we don't have possible people from the boards, we may reappoint it.
Of course.
And I give you an example. Eddie Muiña was 15 years in the, he did a great job.
Correct.
So it's not a sin, it's not bad to be in the
course
zoning
not.
board many years because they are doing a good job and we don't have substitutes. If what the Commissioner Blanes said, you have to go out to look if people to serve in the
You
boards.
don't
It's
have to
very
look,
hard.
you don't have to look for them.
So I don't agree
can
with you.
You can reappoint
If
somebody
you
who's
are going
there.
to, well, you finish and let me know when you finish.
Let me just, I'll try to say very, very clearly because I know there's the glass in the way and miscommunication.
No, I hear you.
If you can't find somebody, if you cannot find somebody to serve on the board who is not currently serving on the board, you can reappoint somebody who is currently serving. There's no restriction for you to do that. What I'm saying is that the terms that they currently have lapsed and a long time ago. So they're not currently occupying those positions. If you can't find somebody who serves on the board who's not on the board, appoint somebody who is currently on the board. There's no problem.
When you finish, let me know.
Okay, so I would like to
Well,
make
but
a
I
motion.
didn't finish yet, honest.
I made
Because
that- I
if
made
you
that
want
motion
to,
already. It was
if
shot
you
down.
want to nominate, Commissioner Eris Diaz-Padrón, Vice Mayor. If you want to appoint somebody to that board, it may be an empty seat. You may appoint it. You don't have to tell everybody out because your term is over. And then you have to reappoint it, or you have to tell everybody go out of the board, and then we have to create a new board with the new people, and we may be 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month without the boards and the members in the board. And that's the way I understand that you want to apply the 4 years rule.
No, I'm not applying anything.
That's what I understand. So this is very, very confusing for me.
Mr. Attorney, do we currently have people serving on the Planning and Zoning Board with unexpired terms? With unexpired terms?
Unexpired term, my understanding is that we do not have anyone that with an unexpired term.
So the Planning and Zoning Board is empty. Their terms have expired just like our terms expire every 4 years. What I am suggesting is that we make appointments. And it's very, I mean, this is the most equitable way to do it. The clerk even recommended this. You each make an appointment. I don't see how that's controversial. I think that should be celebrated, that everyone makes one appointment.
Mayor, I have a question for Mr. Pena.
Let me say something. I clearly heard the clerk say, we do have members currently on the board that their terms have not expired. I clearly heard that. I'm just talking boards in general. I didn't know we were talking about one board specifically.
Planning and zoning.
I thought we were talking about just boards in general, because the same thing applies to both boards.
Okay, but
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Planning and zoning is set.
Go ahead,
We don't have to
Commissioner.
worry about the planning and zoning. I think we need to
No,
worry about the planning and
that's
zoning.
not true,
is
sir.
expired.
That's not true. He's talking about both
The
boards.
Planning and Zoning Board is expired. There's
See,
nobody
it's
currently
both
serving on it.
boards. It's
If I
both
may-
boards.
If I may.
Yes.
Okay. As Vice Mayor has said, all the terms per our zoning ordinance, their terms have all expired, okay? Because it is your duty every election year after you are elected to reappoint the person that you wish on the zoning board.
No, it's not.
It hasn't happened in many years, okay? However, it doesn't limit you from reappointing the same person that's there today. Okay.
That's why I started this conversation an hour ago when
Can
I
I finish?
said.
Can I finish? 162, code enforcement, is completely separate, okay? They do have term limits, and they do have reappointment limits,
Yes.
okay? 3 terms of 3 years, that's the max. 9 years is the most that a member could be on. And then they have to separate for a certain amount of time before they could possibly ever come back on the board.
Yes, the code enforcement has term limits, not the Planning and Zoning Board.
Exactly.
So,
Like I explained to you earlier, you could, tonight, if you wish, pick a member and reappoint him. You could pick a member and reappoint him. You can pick a member and reappoint him. It's only if you want to go look for a member, such as Vice Mayor wants to do,
He may
which he
appoint
can.
somebody.
So out of the 5, 4 can be reappointed tonight, if you wish.
Do you have any opening so he may appoint tonight somebody?
Again, Commissioner, you have 5 members. All members' terms have expired by ordinance, okay? So, obviously, if you all pick one, there will be one that stays out. That will be the Vice Mayor's pick.
okay,
He may appoint
this sounds,
somebody
you know,
tonight.
Not tonight.
If you wish, but that's up to him.
we have an extraordinary situation here.
Yes.
We have been operating, you know, for many years, you know, under our present situation. The vice mayor has brought up, you know, a very important, you know, and
Correct. Valid point.
yeah, absolutely. The way that we should be proceeding from now on. But since we have not been doing that, I think that for the sake, you know, the service to our community, we should do just that. Each one of us pick a member that has expired and reappoint them.
That's your option.
Okay, I think that's what we should do.
If you guys are ready to make an appointment tonight, I'll make an appointment tonight.
Okay, so who
Guys,
needs
wait,
to be appointed?
Commissioner Blanes.
I don't think that's the way to
Commissioner
go.
Blanes, let's remember, these members have no idea about this. I do not think we should make this appointment tonight.
I agree. That's what I'm
That
saying.
is
June
that is
2nd.
that is
Give
that
me-
is
give
that
me
is
a
a
member
wrong
that
on
needs to
top
be
of a
appointed.
wrong on top of a wrong.
Give me a member that needs to be appointed. I'll appoint him right now.
But Commissioner, they don't know any. Someone's going to be left out here, and that person has no idea. That is the wrong way to thank our residents for the time they have served on this board.
That's why I was suggesting June 2nd, because that way it not only gives time for anybody who wishes to go look for another member or interview the current member that they might not, know his positions or ideas, but also to allow the clerk and administration to clear everything up with the current members and notice them. That's why I was suggesting June 2nd as the appointment date. That's the only reason why I was suggesting June 2nd. For that reason alone, Mr. Pena has said that there's no urgent matter right now. That is 1 month, right? 1 month, and we can put this issue behind us, and we have our terms set up, and we'll be operating like a old machine, like we should have been for many years. This issue wasn't, the fault of the current clerk either, but we have to correctly appoint the members in order to get into compliance. So that's why I was suggesting, if you want to make appoint somebody from the current commission, from the current board, absolutely do it. Let's just do it June 2nd. Everyone gets an appointment. Their notices go out. Everything is clean. That's my recommendation. That's my motion, and there is a second on it.
Again, just for the record, I will be away also on the June 2nd meeting, so you're aware.
Then we're not having this on June 2nd, not with you and the clerk both gone.
It's an appointment.
Not happening.
What does Mr. Pena need to be here for an appointment?
I just think I want all hands on deck for this.
It's an appointment, Madam Mayor.
I'm giving you my opinion, Vice Mayor. Take it or leave it. It's up to the rest of rest of this table.
I would recommend June 16th then. If June 16th, correct me if that's a meeting that, it's a meeting date, June 16th? Yes. I would recommend June 16th then for the appointment.
I have a motion. I have a second. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
The motion to, what he present, that tell all the members
to appoint
the term,
on June 16.
and then the zoning board will be empty?
To make the appointments on June 16.
Either new appointments
appoint
or
or reappoint.
reappointments.
Let the committee make a vote, sir.
No, I don't understand yet. 3 people talk at the same time. The motion is for the vice mayor to appoint somebody tonight?
No. To make the
motion-
appointments or
his
reappointments at the June 16 meeting.
His motion is?
To make the appointments or reappointments to the Code Enforcement Board, to the Planning and Zoning Board at the June 16 meeting, commission meeting.
To reappoint the people?
Appointments or reappointments.
Appointment or reappointment. But the motion that you are asking for is not apply the 4 years tonight and let the board without members. Is that your motion?
The board
I
does
don't
not have
agree with
members
that.
today.
Huh?
The board does not have members today. I'm asking us to appoint or reappoint on June 16th.
To appoint or reappoint June 16th.
Correct.
But the members who are in the boards actually will be in their seats until that day.
They're not on their seats today.
Well, I vote no. I don't understand your motion.
Keep going,
It's
Madam
too
Clerk.
complicated, and I know the hard is to get new people for the boards.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk. Next, call the next vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanca?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
No.
3-2, item did not pass.
Next item, please.
But Madam Mayor and
You don't have a
members,
planning and zoning board.
Vice Mayor,
You still need to do
that
something.
vote was already made.
But, okay, but
The
Madam Mayor.
vote was already made, sir.
I'm
We're
not
not going
even-
to discuss this anymore.
I'm
The
sorry,
vote
you
was
have to
already
discuss
made.
this, but I'm not suggesting we go my route.
Mr. Attorney, if
but
the
you
vote is already made, do we continue this discussion?
Madam Mayor, if the motion fails, there should be a substitute motion, so something is done, because there's nothing at this point. So the way that perhaps the Vice Mayor presented it, it was voted down by you.
Okay, then I'll make a motion. We
Uh,
reappoint the
Madam Mayor,
existing board.
Usually, chairs do not make motions.
Well, nothing's usual about tonight.
Well,
Okay,
it's
so
up to
somebody
you.
else make a motion. But
It's up to you. It's
Okay,
not
then I'm
up
going to make
me.
a motion. I motion we reappoint the existing board.
Madam Mayor, usually each member has a voting, a
You
right
said
to.
we could make a motion that since the first motion
Madam
failed.
Mayor, let me finish, please.
Go ahead.
Each one of the commissioners have a right to vote on one member. So therefore, it should not be a motion to reappoint 5 because each commissioner does not have the right to select it. So, see, the last appointment that I see here was done by Commissioner Blanes. Okay? So the next appointment should be made by Commissioner Suarez. The following appointment should be by Commissioner Blanca. The third appointment should be by Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón. The fourth amendment should be by the mayor. And the fifth amendment should be again by Commissioner Blanes. So therefore, you each one, if you want to
Mr.
appoint
Attorney,
one or two or three.
It shows
that-
me next on the list for an appointment. I don't know what, you looking at Planning and Zoning Board? It shows
Planning
I'm
and
next to
Zoning.
make an appointment.
He's looking at the code enforcement board.
You're looking at the wrong one.
I'm sorry?
You're looking at the wrong one.
Okay. Is he?
The planning and zoning board, all of you must appoint or reappoint because all terms are expired. That's the code enforcement board.
Planning and zoning board, it says here.
Okay, planning and zoning, okay.
That's what I'm bringing from.
Do the rotation tonight, all in, if that's what you want.
And Madam Mayor, besides if you appoint, there are terms that must be determined.
According to
And we're
what you
gonna-
have done in the past.
Okay, and we're going to do all that tonight?
You can,
According to what you have done in the past, the last appointment was done by Commissioner Blanes. So the next appointment should be suggested by Commissioner Suarez. The following appointment should be suggested by Mayor Rodriguez. The other one by Commissioner Blanca, and the other one by Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón. If you want to appoint one, that's up to you. I can't say anything. If you don't want to appoint that person today, you can do it afterwards.
Well, if we need another motion and you say I can't make it, then somebody needs to make a motion. If you're saying it's not customary for me to make a motion, then I will yield to your advice and I will not make a motion.
Okay, motion to do what the attorney says.
Motion to what?
You understand what the attorney said was what my...
To reappoint.
What my motion was, right?
To reappoint. To
That
reappoint
each
tonight,
one- what
to
the att-
reappoint tonight the boards.
What the
All
city
those-
attorney, if I may, I'm sorry, is what I understand that the city attorney is advising you that each member has an opportunity to reappoint or appoint. And
One
he's
member.
One member, not the whole board.
Not the whole board.
Again, remember, these board members do not have any idea of this.
Correct.
So someone is going to be left out, and that person is going to find out after tonight that they are no longer on the board.
That's why I don't think it should be tonight. That's why I was suggesting June 16th.
June 16th.
Is everyone comfortable with doing this on June 16th without Mr. Penna or the clerk being here?
No, 16th we will be here,
Oh, I'm sorry, 16th.
yes.
Okay, so what's the motion?
I think to do this on the 16th, I think we're spinning our wheels here.
It's fine with me.
You need to do a
Motion to do this,
Reappointment or appointment?
the appointments or reappointments on June 16th.
I need a second.
Second.
Call the vote.
Okay, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
If it's the same motion or before, I vote no.
Continue, sir. Continue, Madam
We're
Clerk.
gonna be here all night.
Continue, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
Continue, Madam Clerk. Call the
Okay,
vote.
Commissioner Suarez.
What was the
okay.
motion again?
Commissioner Blanes.
Yes.
Okay, one moment, please.
The attorney wants to know what the motion is. He doesn't even know what the motion is. He made it, but he doesn't know what it is.
Okay,
do this on the
there was-
16th.
There was, the motion failed to do it on June 16 previously. Again, Commissioner Blanes now this time made a motion to do it on June 16, and they are voting for June 16th.
Okay,
which
that's a
are
prevailing
in
vote.
consideration?
That was the prevailing vote, so therefore you can proceed and do it. In other words, that
Was the
would be a
prevailing side.
reasserting of the motion that was failed.
Correct.
Okay?
Mhm.
So the prevailing side, which is you, Commissioner Blanes, can make that motion, which is the one that Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón had made before.
Right.
Okay, so we have the motion by Commissioner Blanes, second by Commissioner Blanca, a no by Commissioner Suarez, a yes by Commissioner Blanes. Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mayor Rodriguez, how do you vote?
No.
And Commissioner Blanes and Mary.
Commissioner, I'm sorry?
Commissioner Blanes didn't vote.
Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Commissioner Blanca needs to vote.
Okay, Commissioner, okay, we have motions. Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanes voted yes.
Yes, I said.
So we have a yes, yes, we have 3-2, motion passes. So June 16 is the time where you're gonna have the opportunity to make appointments or reappointments. This is for all boards or just for the planning and zoning board?
Prevailing
For
side is
all
one, right?
boards?
Don't look at me,
Now, the next item is the...
No, we can't go to the next item, sir. The clerk has a very valid question.
If that's what he
Please
said,
restate your question.
Yes, okay, a motion just passed for all boards or just the planning and zoning board?
We were only talking about planning and
All
zoning.
Mr. Penna?
Again, the code enforcement board, according to you, have a valid board.
Right,
Still,
there's only
they
two
are
members
members,
that need to be reappointed or
but
Correct.
they need
Right.
to be,
So
uh-huh.
that you can do, we can do next meeting, you can do it, meet the following.
Correct.
To
You don't need a
reconsider
motion for that.
the code enforcement and leave the planning and zoning board with this vote. Okay, so we'll do planning and zoning board on June 16 and reconsider appointments or reappointments to the code enforcement board also on June 16. And at that time, also, the terms will be determined by law.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
waiting
thought
for
you
you,
were making,
Madam
I thought you
Mayor.
were making your
I'm waiting
notes.
for you to-
No, I'm sorry. Next item. I was waiting for you. I thought you were like writing. I'm sorry. I didn't look up.
No, I just.
My apologies. I was going over your memo.
It's
I was
okay.
waiting
Item
for you.
10B is the selection of date for the tree dedication ceremony in memory of Inez Suarez. This item is coming from the April 21st, 2021 meeting.
I would like to defer that for the next meeting, please.
Okay,
Next
deferred.
meeting, no, in June, the first meeting in June.
The first meeting for June 2nd, okay.
Thank you.
The first for June 2nd. Are all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item would be item 11C, which is the discussion in reference to recognition to our state delegation on the allocation of $350,000 for our potable water project. This item is by Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón.
Sure, I'll be quick on this. This is a sort of a report and a quick request from my colleagues. I've been in constant contact with Senator Ileana Garcia and Representative Demi Buceta over the last couple of months in regards to our potable water project. When I went to Tallahassee, I had meetings with Speaker Pro Temp Brian Avila, Chair Rodriguez, and Water and Natural Resources Chair Josie Tomkow on the issue. I was speaking with Senator Ileana Garcia and Representative Buceta Cabrera yesterday at an event with Governor DeSantis, and they both expressed interest in coming in for legislative updates. So I'll be extending invitations to them with the clerk. When they come in, we did get an allocation. I would like to be able to present them from our commission some sort of recognition. I don't know if it's in the form of a proclamation or I don't know what you guys are would want to do, but for their hard work in Tallahassee. So that's something that I would request from you all. Aside from that, if the money comes through, which they both expressed a lot of confidence that the item won't get vetoed, if the money comes through, I would like to be able to show our reps how grateful we are for the money, not only for them, but for people who come after them, that they know that we show our gratitude. So if the money comes through, I would like to be able to put up some sort of temporary billboard or signage along the construction site during the construction, thanking them. That's something that I will be bringing up, hopefully, if the money comes through at a later time. The other thing I want to report on this is the federal money. I have been working with Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar and her team for the last few months as well on the potable water. About a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the manager submitted a request for $3 million for a potable water project. The Congresswoman has indicated to me that this is a priority for her, and has indicated to the committee in Congress. The request needed a last-second letter of support as part of its eligibility requirements, and I'm saying last-second meaning they requested it from us on Friday in the morning and it was due at Friday at 3 p.m. So that's something that Commissioner Sosa did for us without hesitancy. She wrote us a letter in support, a great letter of support to Maria Elvira's office, and that basically kept our project alive for federal funding. So for that and for constant support of the city, I would like at some point to recognize her as well with some sort of physical proclamation or something that I'll bring up at a later time for Commissioner Rebecca Sosa. That's pretty much it in terms of this discussion item. It was more of a report. And again, I would like to request those proclamations or some other sort of recognition for our state senator and state rep when they come in for their legislative updates.
Do we need to vote on this?
We should have a blessing so that we can proceed.
I concur.
Me too. Yeah.
Should I call the vote? Are we in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is
Is there, I'm sorry, is there a specific meeting, Vice Mayor, that you would like to schedule their appearance?
Well, that has to be,
or
that has
the
to be
mayor and
discussed with
commission?
them. That has to be discussed with them. I discussed with them the next meeting and the meeting following. I'd like to do them separately because they have different. Some of the stuff they're going to say is overlap, and I don't want to make them feel I don't want them to feel uncomfortable giving their legislative updates, even though they have their own accomplishments as well. So I'll schedule that with you and the clerk and them.
Okay.
And but hopefully in the next two meetings, two or three meetings, we'll get
Great.
them out of the way. But if with the blessing of this commission, I'd like to have those proclamations or recognitions done prior. That way we're prepared for them.
Thank you.
Next item, Madam Clerk?
Item 11D, discussion in reference to 4th of July by Mayor Rodriguez.
Madam Manager, I'll yield to you on this. We've had many discussions.
Yes, ma'am, we sure have, and there's been so much uncertainty as to when we go back to normal, and I think you and I, Madam Mayor, agree that at least this year, we're not going to have time to prepare, even if they lift the order by July 1st. This is a major undertaking for the city, and I concur that we should cancel the 4th of July in the event that July 1st is not the magic date. We really can't spend all this money, enter into a contract with a vendor, check the facilities with the fire department. There's just a lot of things that happen before these events take place. So I would definitely recommend to the commission that our collective recommendation be accepted and to leave it hopefully for the big bang next year. And maybe we can put something together for the 75th anniversary of the city in conjunction with the 4th of July. You may want to consider something like uniting those events.
All in favor of taking the manager's recommendation?
Aye.
Aye. Next item? Thank you, Madam Manager.
Thank you,
Next
madam.
item?
Item 11E, discussion and possible action of the possibility of having a limited summer camp program with guided recommendations by the Office of the City Manager and the Recreation Director.
Thank you. Again, following the protocols by the Office of the Governor, the county, and the South Florida Parks Coalition, we are comfortable that we are able to invite 100 kids, and that would be our my recommendation, which is also joined with the recommendation of our Parks Director, is we make the summer camp program available to a limited number of children. Of course, West Miami residents would be the priority. Those kids would get the first opportunity to go to camp. And again, we're being very cautious about taking kids to field trips. John is making calls and trying to see if you approve us to move forward with a modified summer camp, he would bring field trips to the rec center. Mayor, you know, we met the other day with our Parks Director, and I know you also wanted to yield to Commissioner Blanes on this, as he has been involved with in the past. But we do believe that we are able to offer a program where children can interact, socialize, go outdoors, play sports, play games, and have somewhat of a very fun summer. John Michael is also working with the Miami-Dade County Public Schools to see if there are internship opportunities, and it looks like they will have internship opportunities where the county pays for Miami-Dade Public School System, they will pay for 6 weeks for some of the interns to come in, learn, exchange with the kids, and interact. So I think it's a good idea. I think we're ready to move forward in that direction. But we have to limit it to 100 kids to meet the demands of the 3 feet separation inside the building, although we want to do a lot of outdoor activities.
Thank you for the recommendation. All in favor of taking the manager's recommendation on limited summer camp opening? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Madam Cook. Madam Manager, next item, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Item 11F, discussion in reference to possible modified reopening of the West Miami Community Center for West Miami residents only that complies with the county and CDC orders by the Office of the City Manager and Community Center Director.
Thank you. I had issued a report late this afternoon, but my assistant is on vacation, and I don't know whether Aneri was able to interject it. I sent it late this afternoon. But anyways, in a nutshell, our community center director is working on her closeout monitoring report with the Alliance for Aging for this quarter. I met with her today, and unfortunately, she was not here because she was under the weather. This said, she felt that it would be important to talk about a possible soft opening, and Mayor, you and I have talked about this as well, which we suspect can begin as early as June 1st, 2021. But before we open, we have to conduct an assessment of the congregate clients. The assessment will tell us, and I discussed this with Commissioner Suarez today when he visited our office. The assessment will tell us if the congregate clients are able to return to the program or if they have to be placed on home-delivered meal program. They've been on lockdown pretty much for the last 14 months. And while many of them want to return, we have to go through what they call an assessment process. And this is all guided by the Alliance for Aging. So the process will take us about 3 weeks to conduct the interviews with our seniors. However, there's a breakdown that I prepared, and based on today's numbers, we have 46 West Miami residents that are congregate clients. And those are the ones that we would primarily conduct an assessment to see if they're able to come back. And I would not recommend, if we do a soft opening, that we invite any non-residents to return to the center until we exhaust all the West Miami senior citizens first to return. We have 46 non-West Miami residents as well in the congregate program. So I would prioritize West Miami senior citizens first, And then when they loosen up the restrictions, we can invite the non-residents to return. Again, all of this is subject to assessments to be conducted by the center. And then we have on home delivered meals, we have 65 City of West Miami residents that will continue to receive their meals, and 40 non-residents of the city, non-residents receiving a meal service, a home delivered meal service from us as part of the ongoing program. And that has not been interrupted. So we can start our assessment and bring a report back as to what the numbers are starting to look like, how many seniors would like to return, how many of them will have difficulty, and we can have a better idea of what our opening is going to look like. As discussed, I think that we will have to do a phased-in program before we open up the doors and overwhelm our seniors that have been on lockdown for such a long time. My recommendation would be to offer their meal program, go back to the meal program, and jujitsu class, I'm sorry.
I know, there's no way they're going to do jujitsu. Unless we have some very young seniors coming on board. I'm all for it.
Listen,
I am all for it, but I don't think that's going to work.
No, I'm sorry. Tai Chi, I was thinking of my granddaughters.
Modified jujitsu, maybe.
Tai Chi.
Chair jujitsu. Chair jujitsu.
There you go. Maybe we should open up a jujitsu
Chair
class.
jujitsu. I'm loving it.
Yeah, but Tai Chi classes are very, very popular. I think they're going to help mobilize our senior citizens and bring them back to the way they, were prior COVID-19. So I think that the first couple of weeks should be a very limited program, and then add one more event every week, like their bingo participation, their domino, their learning opportunities, and slowly but surely bring them back to the way the program was running prior to COVID-19.
Thank you, Madam Manager.
Yes, ma'am. And that would be my recommendation.
All in favor of taking the manager's recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item.
Item IA11G, discussion in reference to recommendation of expansion of route with use of
Oh, Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, that's going to be deferred.
Deferred?
I'm sorry.
Would you like to
I didn't know
defer
we were there already. Deferred.
the May 19th meeting?
Yes. Jason did send an email confirming May 19th. I believe that the gentleman from Freebie may be on his honeymoon trip.
Okay,
So
that's right, yes.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Next item.
Item 12, consent agenda items, none this evening. Item 13, good of the order.
Let's go home.
No, I do have something. Irregardless of our passion up here, I'm still happy we're all back in chambers.
Yes.
So.
Me too.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
This meeting is adjourned.
Aye.